Welcome. Today we are going to look at the Chief Examiner's report. Stay tuned, take your time, and let's go through this short video. And this is going to be the marvelous tips for you for this year 2026 and the examinations ahead of you. Now, the first aspect that the report was talking about is our weakness. Now, the weaknesses are the areas that the student were not able to perform very well. And in that case, we are going to look at those weaknesses. And I bet of you, after going through these weaknesses, then it means that most students should concentrate much on that area again because your weaknesses will still be used against you. The first one that students have problem is drawing and interpretation of diagrams. The drawing and interpretation of diagrams. This was a weakness to the student because student was finding it very difficult to draw and interpret diagrams. For example, cumulative frequency curve, and sometimes bar graph, histograph. So most of the students in these areas have a very big challenge in that. Another area is circuit theory. The circuit theory is a weakness for students, and I wish that you try much questions in that area. Circuit theorem is another weakness for students, and I wish that you look at it critically. The next area is construction. Construction, and another area is our graph. These basic 5 or 4 areas were the weaknesses for students. Another one that most students were having much flaw is real life problems. And that is a challenge for students, real life problems. You also have another one. Let's come to this side. Simple interest and fractions was also a challenge for most of the students. And I believe that take note of these various areas I've noted and master them very well. Where was their strength? Now let's come to the strength. The strength were the areas the student was able to perform very well. And these areas were the areas the students were trying their best to work hard. One of them, let's look at the strength. Midpoint between lines was a good area that most of the students were trying to do much on them. We have another one, mensuration. Students were able to find area of a cone, cylinder, pyramid, and even frustum. And I believe that that was a good area that students had their hand on them. Another area is the average speed or average calculations. And students were doing much well in those areas. Simple algebra was also easy for students to perform. Now the bottom line. Based on these weaknesses that student has identified, this coming WASSCE candidate should concentrate more again on these weaknesses: drawing and interpretation of diagrams, circuit theory, construction, graph, and real-life problems. Those areas are going to be repeated again. Your strength areas are going to be basic fundamentals for you. So it doesn't mean that you should ignore them, but rather work harder, solve more questions, and that will be a thing of the past. Now, the remedy is that from now to the time that you're going to write your exams, you work more examples at your weaknesses and try less at your strength. I believe that this information is going to make a success this coming exam. Have a nice day.